All right, Alex, I think it's really important to remember, to journey back to where this all began, where these predictions came from, and whether we should have taken those predictions with a grain of salt or whether we should have shut down the world economy because of them. It seems pretty obvious in this case.
So March 16th, the Imperial College report is released. March 17th, actually, the New York Times writes a front page story about how important this report has been to the US and the UK and ultimately worldwide. And yes, everything you say about Professor Ferguson's history is true. One of the interesting things that I've noticed is that when I talk to epidemiologists, especially ones who have a medical background, who are MDs, and especially those who dealt with HIV, and actually Dr. Fauci is sort of an exception in this. When you talk to people who have a little bit of history of and actually deal with patients, real living people on a daily basis, or who did in the HIV, the years of fear of HIV, they have a much different attitude towards this because they lived through an epidemic that had 100% fatality rate. In the 1980s, they saw people, 25-year-old men who were coming in with untreatable cancer and pneumonia and were dying in weeks. And so they know what an epidemic really looks like, and they don't panic the way some of these people who are just playing with computer models do.
Right, and that's the thing. I mean, it really gets me that this model, of course, is based. A model means it's an algorithm, which means you plug in different pieces of data, the variables, to get a result. The result would be the projection that he's published, but he never told us. He never released publicly what his equation looks like, what he's factoring into his prediction. That's critically important because he could be making absolutely wild assumptions that are obviously untrue, even to the trained eye, let alone to the experts, and we wouldn't know about it, even though our politicians are taking that seriously.